Hey, what's up everybody, BDF 44 coming at you another video. Alright, so I figured I wasn't ready to come home yet. It's still early. Got about an hour to kill before it's time for me to go back in. So I figured I'd just walk around Hollywood since it was on the way back. Plus, one of the regular people that I see on the train, it was this chick that is not very well. She got on the train I was on, and it became clear to me that I did not want to be on there for too much longer with her. She started lighting up some weed, and then another dude started tripping about it. It was just like, all right, let me get off this bad energy train. I remember last week I got on the train, she was on there. She got in front of me, the seat in front of me, and stared at me for like a minute. She's schizophrenic, so whatever she sees in her head is what it is. It ain't what's actually happening. She didn't say nothing then, but I knew right then that she wasn't with us. Her mind was like on some really, really bad drug trip out type thing. And today she was talking to herself, basically saying, talking to, I don't know, she was cussing and fussing at somebody she thought was a bigger bone lady. She was saying, can't touch me, don't slap me. And, you know, she had a whole moment on the train today. So my thing was, she tried to light some weed to ease her mind, and then homeboy across the way started flipping out. So I'm like, man, let me get up out of here, because he might try to attack her, and it could get like that. So I got off the train, man. I didn't want to have nothing to do with that. That was a little too much for me coming out of my therapy session. I just like, you know what? No, I'm coming from a peaceful place. I don't want to have nothing to do with that type of energy at all. And so that's what I did. I got up out of that situation, and you know, found myself in Hollywood. That's exactly where it took me. So I got a mind to walk over here to this Wingstop, even though I'm not actually going to buy anything there. But I figured this is the area of interest to walk and just curl around and then just come back around. Had a little bit of a headache in the therapy session. I think I was doing too much looking down as I was speaking, and that's never good for my sinuses. But that's exactly what it was. So now I got fresh air to try to make it better, and so that's what I'm hopeful will come of that. Just getting a little fresh air and feeling a lot better with this. It's not too cold, not too hot, that kind of thing, so the weather's all right. And I got a jacket in my backpack if it comes to that. But you know, coming back in front of the subway I used to work at, figured I'd just walk over here in the back area way. But I used to ride with mom to try to avoid Hollywood traffic. She would like taking the back way, as I've often mentioned to you guys. So that's where I'm at right now. That Wingstop's crosses that way. Yeah. And since my Wingstop was so bad in the last one, I had such a bad, I was telling y'all in that therapy session 2 therapy sessions ago about how bad my Wingstop experience was. Part of me wants to go in there and just make up for it by eating it the right way, but to be honest with you, that is also probably not the way to go. Like I told you, I would probably want it even more if it tastes good, but I don't know if I don't want it just to make up for how bad it tastes. I want my barbecue taste, you know. I never got that barbecue, but yeah, man, I feel all right. Just walking around my hometown, you know. This is where I'm most comfortable. You don't see me going back to Lenox to walk around, that's for damn sure. Even though I spent the last 10 years there, I don't ever want to go back there again if I can afford to not. Not unless I've got some tickets to a Clipper-Laker game in that Clipper Arena. That's the only reason why I want to even be in that area. But, you know, it's been a good day so far. Ain't nothing bad at all. I'm just glad the therapy session ended in such a time to where I could do this, walk around here and, you know, just kind of decompress from the conversation, which wasn't bad. It wasn't a stressful conversation, but I ain't want to get back in the room just yet. I can tell you my stomach hurts, which is a good thing. It's muscle pain from all that damn squatting I've been doing these last couple days and the fast-paced squats I did yesterday. And you know, it's hopefully that can translate to me having a stronger core going forward, because I had lost a little bit of that over the last month with my little break. As I was telling y'all, taking that break from my workout was terrible for my body, just terrible. Couple that with them bad meals, which is also something that I'm sure Wingstop ain't gonna help with if I were to eat that. But you know, it's one of those situations where You just got to put in the work and then be mindful of how to eat and do it regularly and consistently for what it is you want to feel. If you want your body to have a little weight on it, then you eat more portions. If you want your weight to come down, you cut back on some of them portions and make sure you're eating healthy the whole time. That's really what it's about for me. It's portions. No matter what it is I'm eating, I'm gonna get big if I don't manage my portions better. So that's where I've been struggling lately, I think. But yeah, man, feeling this fresh air. I love the weather that's in Hollywood, man. I don't know if I want to move back over here, but I certainly find myself over here more than anywhere else these days. Yeah, so I prefer it, man. Home. These are very, very familiar streets for me in my childhood, as you guys know. And coming back here just feels good, even though I don't know a single soul over here anymore. Nobody I know lives over here anymore that I know of. And if they do, I lost touch with them many, many moons ago. So, it's one of them situations where you come back over here for the environment rather than anything else. And I'm fortunate. As I remember having a conversation over here last time, not everybody gets to return home, man. Not everybody gets to come back to their home and see it being upright. Because I tell you the truth, what I'm seeing in Gaza is showing me that is the case, man. Not everybody gets to go home. Not everybody gets to come back to their hometown and see everything be upright and buildings still look the same. Like, I'm fortunate. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. It's because I get to see familiarity in my neighborhood. It's almost like I can walk back home, That's how I know it's easy for people who are not in their right mind to go and be homeless in places that are familiar to them. Because I'm walking around places that are familiar to me. In my right mind for the most part, I'd imagine. But it's just easy. You can totally see yourself walking back to your old apartment and trying to walk in there with the key. Like, if I were out of my mind or drunk and I walked around here, I probably still think I could go to some of the same places I used to when I was 18, 17, 16 years old and earlier. It's just easy to walk around these places when they look the same, And I hadn't had a whole lifetime since I lived over here, man. 2 lifetimes, basically. When you consider Wilshire and everything that came with that, and then Lenox and everything that came with that. One would think I'd be so detached from this life that I wouldn't feel comfortable over here, but that is not how this works. That is not how this works at all. So, yeah, man. Still most comfortable in Hollywood. I hope everybody knows that, your voice matters in regards to circumstances where real things are happening in the world and people don't have a voice. It's your voice that's going to be their voice. And that's what I try to value myself in being in regards to just various different things, man. The situation or otherwise is people acting as if it's not happening. Nah, we're going to talk about it, man. We're going to talk about it. Whatever people say, oh, no, that's not happening. Yes, it is. Oh, no, it's fine that it's happening because it's happening to them. No, it's not. No, it's not. So I'm going to encourage everybody who watches me to understand that. And you have a right to use your voice. Just because they want to silence you for saying certain things, just because they don't want you to have a heart for certain things, because they don't, does not mean that you're not supposed to use your voice for the betterment of what it is you should. It's going to be many people who will always want to silence the truth to better their pockets, or to silence the truth to align themselves politically. And at the end of the day, the truth is still that. People can mold it however they want to mold it, talk about whatever they want to talk about, side with whoever they want to side with. At the end of the day, right is right, wrong is wrong. That's it. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys to understand, that I believe when I speak to you guys about whatever various different things that I do. Sometimes you just got to care about something that doesn't pertain to you. If you're somebody who is from a certain country where war-torn stuff is going on, you have a right to speak up for what's going on in your country. If you're from a place where people have torn up the land in the name of dollars, and you look around you and you see a bunch of people benefiting from that, you have a right to speak up on that. There's going to be people who respect you for doing so, even though it's going to be a ton of people who are going to try to shut you out, blackball you, or what have you, especially in a town like Hollywood. At the end of the day, I believe that your standing up for what's right will age so much better than those who were silent in the name of the get along, go along, get along. I really believe that humanity and compassion will outlast a lot of these politics and these ways, these isms. Because you can look in a dog's eyes and see compassion. You understand what I'm saying? You can look at a baby's eyes and see compassion. That doesn't come along with politics and technology and understanding. That comes with awakening to what you see and being horrified by the terror that others are going through. And there's something normal about that, no matter how far away from it we want to get with our isms and our politics and our money chase. There's something very normal about looking at someone suffering and saying that is something I do not want them to go through, nor do I want to face it myself. Something very normal about that. And I don't care how far away we get from it, that's still going to be normal amongst living things. So that's what I want to say to y'all, man. Care for what you care for, but understand, if you don't value everybody aligned along the same lines, if you're going to be selective in your humanity, then believe me, man, it's not going to age well for you. People may accept that you have a heart, but if you only have a heart and you're pointed in certain directions and not others, then it's going to be you being the bad guy in a lot of circumstances. I think that's where we go wrong as humans, selective humanity. No more of that. If that's a human over there, regardless of what color, creed, identification of any practice or whatever they do, they're a person and they deserve good food, good water, sleeping, all of the different stuff that humans should get, man. And if you don't believe that, then you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. And it's okay to have a love for yourself. It's okay to have a love for your region, your people. But if you can't at least be in solidarity with somebody else, believe me, part of the problem. I don't care what they taught you. That for which makes you not care is going to be weaponized against you when people start judging and start wondering how best to treat you when they're in positions of power that you may be in when you're thinking that way. Oh, my people, we love us and we're going to fight for us. If you are taking from others or forcing others into a lifestyle that they don't want to be in based on your own comfort, you're in the wrong. If you're doing things that otherwise put people in positions to not have what they're supposed to have so that you can get what it is that you feel you should have, if you're doing it only for your own people and don't mind hurting other people's, you're in the wrong. It needs to be said because there's a lot of people who are so warped into what it is that they agree to that simple bit of humanity gets lost. And we get so desensitized to seeing people who don't have nothing. Like I'm looking around right now, people who don't have nothing. We get so used to that throughout the course of our lives till we don't realize that the culture from which that is normal is what is wrong. Not us for being uncomfortable with that. Not someone for pointing out the fact that they are uncomfortable with that while you are not. But the notion that we should continue to be comfortable with that because those people look like that or because those people pray like this. If you're warped up in that type of thinking and you don't see walking, talking human beings as human beings because they don't align with what it is you're doing or what it is that you look like, part of the problem. And that problem is a lack of humanity, compassion, and that problem is going to be weaponized against you when people start trying to find solutions. And the best way to find that solution is to remove you from the equation for which thinks and feels that way. And that's what people need to understand. It reflects poorly upon you. It reflects a certain lack of love for self when you allow yourself to be seen as someone who only cares for some and not others, that only cares for people that look like you and not others. I don't care what they taught you. The reaction to that is that you are the problem. And so that's what I want people to understand. It ain't about what we agree to. It's about what comes of it. That I'm trying to help people understand what I see there. When you see millions of people stepping up and saying, yo, we stand with Yemen because Yemen is trying to love others. They're trying to keep genocide from happening. And your politics and your political country is telling you, nah, we ain't standing with Yemen. We're going to bomb them 100 times. Your country is not going to age well. their politics gonna age poorly, because compassion is seen in the dog's eyes. You understand what I'm saying? So their lack of compassion and what they agree to compartmentalize that compassion and compartmentalize what they will and will not stand for, puts them in a position to be looked at as the problem. So when people want to boycott this or boycott that, it's that for which they boycott. When they want to stand up for humanity, it's you who acts that way that they want to get out of here, so that the world can be a more balanced and happy place. And you continuing to force yourself into a corner with your people to where you only care about y'all, and maybe peek out once in a while to do business to keep your pockets rich. Believe me, eventually you're just going to find that boycott pointed in your direction. You're going to find them attacking your pockets. You're going to find them looking at you, trying to get you to understand where you went wrong with your lack of humanity and your lack of balance as it pertains to humanity. If you're going to do balancing in your checkbook, and if you're going to balance out your portions of meals, and if you're going to balance out everything else, why can't you balance out your compassion? And if you come up with a valid excuse for that, then you're part of the problem, because there shouldn't be one. Because the moment someone else does the same thing, they're going to be pointing at you saying, we're going to X you out, just like you Xing somebody else out. Nope, not them. Nope. Why? Because they look like this, act like this, pray like this, such and such. And all that is just a reflection of what it is that you've, in being that way, shown them, and how to treat everybody, including you. And maybe within your way of doing things, you don't see certain people as human, but you better understand that the rest of us may. Just because you don't see the Palestinian people as human beings does not mean you should be confused at whether or not we should look at you as somebody who should, when we're all trying to assess who you are and what you're about. That's where you have to think through the propaganda that's been pushed upon your head. You got to see how all of us are reacting to what it is that you're doing. We're in different places. We don't all agree, but we look at what you do and we see you as a problem. Do your math in regards to that. I've never met that person in my life over there in China, but they're both standing for the same thing. Why? Because we don't like seeing Palestinians treated like that. So can you argue that we've come together to go against you? Or from within our respective corners, identify that what you're doing is wrong? And if you all agree that it isn't wrong, and we've never met and we see it as wrong, then don't you want to question whether or not you may have something wrong within what it is you're looking at or how you're viewing it? Shouldn't that make you question? If them two people have never met each other, don't have nothing in common, but both agree that what I'm doing is wrong, shouldn't that make me wonder if there's something universally wrong about what it is I agree to? Shouldn't it make me wonder? We're the only people who agree with what we're doing is us? Shouldn't we look around and say, damn, that's strange. Why didn't everybody else celebrate us as we're taking these people's land? Why don't everybody else celebrate with us as we're dancing and singing songs to praise our God for choosing us to be able to do this? How do they agree that we shouldn't? And they don't agree on anything else. They don't even know one another to agree, but they can, within their respective corners, agree that this shouldn't be. All over the world, they're protesting that. All over the world, they're protesting that genocide. People have never met one another at all. Why? Because compassion is universal. You can see it in a dog's eyes. And anybody that's come together to agree that compassion shouldn't be engaged in is going to look foreign to everybody else, no matter where they are. No matter what they agree to or how they feel. They're going to look at that person and those people who agree not to care as the foreign figure of the circumstance from which peace can be found. That peace is something to want. Keeps you from having to look over your shoulder. Keeps you from wondering whether or not you're in a safe space when otherwise you should be able to be. It creates a safety that ultimately isn't found when one weaponizes their own bigotry against whomever. Maybe I have a disagreement with the Palestinian people. That doesn't mean that I think that their children should be robbed at night of their lives. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe we had a disagreement and we did want to go to war, but there's a limit to that war. We don't want to torture those people. And we certainly don't want to celebrate them being ripped apart. So I got to ask you, if you agree to seeing people being ripped apart, or you agree that being silent is something that is necessary, or if you're in a country like I am, where the country itself is in a dystopian space of peace within the torture done to others, based on what it is we've told each other about others. Even though I can look over there and see those people protesting, I can look over there, see those people protesting. They've never met one another. I look over there, see those people protesting this. All of those different people agree that my country's doing wrong. But I look at my little pressure cooker of a country and don't see nobody complaining about what it is that otherwise should not be done. I'm gonna look around and say, they don't know each other at all. And the only people we really know is one another. That's all. Should we not branch out and find out why they're looking at it that way? Should we not figure out why they think this shouldn't be done? Or are we comfortable with things doing the way that they are? And then being furthermore protested against, boycotted against, and what have you. I think it gets to a point where you just got to ask yourself, what's right for me? BDF 44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.